to California. I lived in Arizona, and I went to Arizona State University, which has the reputation of a party school. And freshman week, my roommates and I, we decided to go down to Frat Row and try out one of the parties. One of the fraternities was actually boarded up and had caution tape all around it. And the reason is that this particular fraternity was under fire for allegedly raping a girl. During my research, trying to figure out what I wanted to do for my speech, I learned that 1 in 4 women will be raped during their college careers. And at major campuses with over 6,000 students, there will be 1 rape for every day of the school year. This also applies to men, though, because something else I learned was that men are more likely to be victims of violent crimes, not including rape, such as assault, mugs, and other kind of battery, violent crimes. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys some basic self-defense moves to defend yourself against anyone trying to hurt you on campus. I'll first teach you how to stop yourself from being grabbed. I'll teach you some basic ways to get out of a wrist grab, and I'll also teach you how to get out of a bear hug hold. So that you can make sure that you are not one of the students under 18. Over 44% of people who are raped are under 18 or are between 18 and 25 years old. This is my friend Chandler. She is going to be helping me demonstrate some of these basic moves today. And we're going to start off with, I will teach you how to stop yourself from being grabbed. Most of the time, if you're walking around at campus, particularly at night, you will be grabbed either from behind or from the front. If you're grabbed from behind, what will happen is they'll usually start with your shoulder. And this is kind of a dangerous, I don't know if you guys can see over there, I'll demonstrate over there as well. But this is kind of a dangerous spot because if she grabs me from my shoulder, she can easily pull me in and get me from behind. So to avoid that from happening, what you want to do, you balance your weight on both of your feet. You want to make sure that not all of your weight is on one foot or in the back foot. So you balance your weight on both of your feet. You take a step back and you swing your arm back in a giant circle motion. So once again, that's balance your weight on both of your feet. You take a step back and you swing your arm out in a giant circle motion. And this way her arm is now down and she has no contact with me whatsoever. Now what will happen if she's trying to come at me? She'll more than likely try to grab me around my waist and keep a low profile. If that happens, if her head comes in contact with my body, it's like I'm kind of screwed because now she has full control. So to prevent that from happening, you're going to take your back arm, you're going to make sure your elbow is aligned with her shoulder, and then your other hand is going to come up in between your body and the head of the attacker. When you have any kind of defense, you want your hands out flat to cover the most amount of space. If you have your hands in fists, you're not going to be able to block as much room. So you have your elbow, you have your hand, so if she tries to come at me, I can block her just like that. And from the other side, it kind of looks with the elbow just like this. So what will happen when she's coming at me like that, if I have this position set up, I balance my weight on both of my feet, but I can make sure that I take a step back and push her off me. Whenever you get your attacker away, you want to make sure you throw your hands up on either side of your face, because if she tries to hit me, now I can block her from either side. And then I can disable her by either poking her eyes, putting my wrist up her nose, that way it breaks her nose, or I can also knee her in the groin, because whether an attacker is a guy or a girl, that kind of hurts. Now, let's say, for instance, you are unable to stop your attacker from grabbing you, and she ends up grabbing my wrist. That's the second step to kind of an attacker trying to grab you. They'll go for your wrist. You don't want to shake around, you don't want to pull them, because what will happen is it'll just pull her closer to me. It's not going to help. So instead, to get out of it, you want to make sure that your hand is facing the ground so that she has the thinnest part of my wrist in her grasp. When I have that set up, what I can do is I can put my entire body weight into my elbow and kind of give a huge jolt. That way she's forced to let go. So I'll bend my elbow while pushing all my weight forward, and it'll force her to let go. Another thing you can do is to take your other hand and use your wrist. You always want to use your wrist. And then I can hit her wrist and force her to let go there. I can then also take her wrist, make sure that your hand twists around, and I can kind of twist her arm around behind her back. And in this case, she'll be the one that is on the bad end, and then I'll have the higher ground. What happens if she grabs both of my wrists? There's not much I can do. I have to free one of my wrists at least to be able to get away from her. The best thing, the easiest way to get out of a double wrist grab hold is to lift one arm and twist around. That way her hands automatically twist. She's disabled at this point. I have a hold of one of her wrists and she's forced to let me go. Now let's say that none of these work. For some reason or another, you're unable to stop yourself, and next thing you know, the attacker has grabbed you from behind. This is a dangerous situation because at this point they're going to try to lift you, they're going to try to take you away somewhere, they're going to try and hurt you. If the attacker grabs you, and specifically around the arms like this, you want to make sure that you can free your arms so that you can disable them. You'll squat down, put all of your weight onto your legs. In this way you make yourself heavier, they're unable to lift you up. When you have this, her arms will slide up a little bit, so now my hands are free. I'll grab onto her wrists for balance, take a step back around her body, grab her leg, and pull her out from under me. Because I don't want to hurt Chandler, I'm not going to actually show that. We don't have a mat or anything. But so what will happen is, she has her arms around my arms, and I squat down, put all my weight down, grab her wrist, take a step back, and pull her leg out from under her. Let's say she just has me around the waist. My hands are free, but again, you don't want her to grab and lift up. So you'll do the same thing. You'll squat down, you'll step back, and you'll pull her leg out from under her. If for some reason they grab you around the neck, now they're panicked, they're trying to hurt you. If she has me around the neck, what you want to make sure to do is to pull down. The first thing you want to do is pull down because her arms they're going to naturally tense up, blocking your airways. So what you want to do is pull down so you can breathe, and then you'll squat down. Now, unlike the other two that I showed you, instead of stepping around her body, you are just going to bend down and pull her over your shoulder. When you bend down, you want to make sure that your neck stays parallel with your body. Like, you don't want to bend your neck forward because that'll just hurt you. So you bend down and you lean forward, and at the very last moment, before you pull your attacker over your shoulder, that's when you bend your neck. That way they don't hit your head. So once again, if they have you around the neck, you're going to step down, pull all your weight onto your legs, and then you just pull them over your body. And in this way, then you can get out of the reverse bear hug hold, as it's called. Now again, once you have the attacker away from you, you want to make sure that you block yourself or defend yourself. And you can do that by either poking their eyes, jabbing your wrist up their nose, or you can also knee them in the groin. And so today I showed you a little bit about how to defend yourself against any attackers. I showed you how to stop yourself from being grabbed. I showed you how to get out of a wrist grab hold. And I showed you how to get out of a reverse bear hug hold. In this way, you can prevent yourself from being injured, raped, or any of the number of violent crimes that happen on campus. Thank you.